Hi Stampers, this is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations, and I'm here today to show you how to make this adorable little box that holds candies on the inside, and it also holds a gift card on the top. We're going to be making this using the Christmas lights and brightest glow bundles that we're using for our stamp camp. So go ahead and join me down on my desk and we'll get started. This is a sampling of what we're going to be making using this suite. So I'm going to get started using a piece of evening evergreen cardstock that is 11 inches by 7 3/4. I have also cut some designer series paper to fit. And so I have this piece, which is 2.5 by 3 7/8. And then I have 1 1/4 by 3 7/8. There's 2 of those. And then there's 2 that are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And then a sentiment I'm going to add to the top. And this is using the brightest glow bundle. You can see the sentiment is right here. And the die I used to cut it out is right here. So I'm going to start by bringing in my score pad. This is the Simply Scored. And I prefer to use this when making boxes and such because it can be so accurate because we are actually going into the groove with it pinned in the corner. I'm going to be using the small end of my stylus because this is what I use for cardstock. I use the heavy end for designer series paper. That's because the bigger end rides on top, whereas the little end goes a little deeper in. And because it's cardstock, we're able to do that. So I'm going to start with the 7 3/4 across the top, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and then 1 7/8. And I'm going to rotate it around and do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do 1/2 inch and then 1 7/8. Now I'm going to put it with the 11 inches across the top, and I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch, 1 7/8, 3 1/4, 4 5/8. At the 6 inch, I'm going to come down just to that score line, and then I'm going to start at the bottom. And I know this is my 6 inch, and I'm going to go up from there. Then I'm going to go to 8 3/8 and 10 3/4. We're going to go ahead and burnish this on all of the score lines. We're going to take the valley fold and turn it into a mountain. And then we're going to do the same thing this direction. Now, for the top, I'm not going to need this whole section and this whole section. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out. And as I'm cutting them out, I'm taking the score line with it. So I'm cutting just inside that score line. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Then I'm going to remove this little end over here. And then I'm going to cut here. And I'm going to remove all of these little flaps. And then I'm going to remove these score lines. And then because I want this box to open and close, I'm actually not going to need this tab here. Then I'm going to angle this a little bit. And I'm going to angle this one. And then on these two, I'm just going to round the corners. So when we're all finished, this will be what you're left with. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and start decorating it before I put it together. Now, this is going to be my inside. So I know that this is going to adhere right there. So I'm going to need some tear and tape along there. And then the top part, as I said, was going to be our little pocket for the gift card. So I'm going to put adhesive across this way and then across this way. Now, when I glue this down, that will create my pocket. And the card will still be able to be inserted from this side. I'm decorating the front with that designer series paper I showed you before. So this piece will go up here. Definitely needs to go that way because these trees go the other direction. Then my little 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 pieces are going to go on those end flaps that will open and close. And if you noticed on my examples, there's the opening in the front. Now I did that using a label punch, and I did it while it was still in this stage, because I'm going to be able to fold this together and insert it into my punch. Now remember, this is going to double in size, so I don't want to go in too far. And that's going to give me my opening. I'm going to cover that opening with a small piece of the thin acetate. This is what comes on our photopolymer stamps. This is the top sheet, so it's thinner than the bottom. And then I'm going to put a glue dot in each corner because it just needs to be held still. So that will be enough to hold it there. And then I'm going to line up the score line in my acetate with the score line in my box. Then we're ready to adhere this. Now to adhere that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the box flat and then push that down. This will ensure that the bottom part is indeed squared up. Now you can see why I needed to remove this flap here, because these two will be able to close. And then with that, the fourth flap missing, we'll be able to tuck this in. Okay, I put 3 of the candies on a strip of basic white cardstock. It can be any scrap, but I did that so that they will easily slide in and out and they won't move around inside. We just want to be sure that our flap doesn't interfere with that. Now for the gift card, like I said, I want it to slide in and out of the top, but I'm going to need a little thumb hole to grab that by. So I'm going to use an older 1-inch circle punch, and I'm going to notch that out. And then my gift card will slide right in. Then all we have to do is adhere the sentiment, which I already have here, and I heat embossed it in gold. And I'm going to pop it up on some dimensionals. And there we go. There's our finished box. So who's going to give this a try and make your own gift card treat box? Thanks.